I know, this is not the video that a lot of you guys wanted to see, but after 5 years of owning the R35 Nissan GTR, I decided to put it up for sale. It is gonna be a sad day when the time comes for this to actually go to a new owner, and I have had the most fun I could have ever imagined behind the wheel of this car. It truly has been the greatest purchase ever and such an amazing experience owning this car. Unfortunately, I'm not made of money, and there are other cars that I have been dreaming about since I was 10 years old that I want to turn into a reality this year, and I have to sell this car in order to fund those projects. So I have to sell it. It's just the time. I was kind of thinking about selling it this time anyway to upgrade into maybe a newer GTR. However, there are dream cars. I just want to check them off my bucket list and make it happen. So I'm going to list it privately. I'll have the listing down below. The reason I'm going to do a private sale is mainly because I have the car paid off, and it's actually pretty easy to do a private party sale, especially with a paid off car. If you're going to pay cash, you simply go to your bank and they will wire the money to my bank, transfer over the title, and that's it. If you're going to finance, same thing, go to your bank, get approval, and they'll do the exact same thing. So it's kind of easy to sell it this way, and I'd really rather give all of our viewers the first opportunity to buy the car directly from me, just make it super simple. If it doesn't work out, I'll just list it on consignment with one of my friend's dealerships and do it that way like I've done in the past. But let's go ahead and get some photos of the car, then we're going to talk more about the pricing, things like that, and then dive into what is next for the cars I'm going to buy. So with all the photos out of the way, let's get into pricing. So I'm gonna list this car. It's a 2014. I'm the second owner, 49,000 miles, premium interior package. I'm gonna list it for $89,995. Now here is my reasoning with pricing. So I worked at a car dealership for 3 years as the inventory and marketing manager. That was my entire job, was to buy cars and then sell them. The pricing was what I did for a living for 3 straight years. Now, I know a lot of you are gonna say, hey, the mods don't add value. Here's the thing with that. If you trade your car into a dealership or sell your car to a dealership, they're not necessarily going to value any of those modifications. They can't, mainly because when a dealership buys a car, they have to be able to sell that car at auction for wholesale value. So they're just not gonna value a car that has extra mods. Now, the exceptions were when we got lifted trucks in. If they had a nice quality lift kit, wheels and tires, absolutely we would pay more for that car because we knew we would get more money for that and it was worth more. When we got in Mustangs 5.0 GTs with superchargers, we would pay more for them because they would sell for more. We had a twin turbo 370Z, bought it for more because we knew we could sell it for more. So there is value to modifications, it just depends. Now when I had my Toyota Supra, I sold that car for $60,000, 500 horsepower, full bolt-on, 890 Toyota Supra. Stock ones at the same time with the same mileage were going for around $54,000, $55,000. Now here was the reasoning on that. That car had around $12,000, $13,000 worth of parts on it, along with whatever installation would cost if you had a shop do everything. So my justification for selling that for 60 was, if I parted that car out, sold it stock, the value of those used parts now on the used market would amount to around $6,000. So no matter what, when I sold my Supra, I was gonna get $60,000, whether I sold it the way it sat or parted it out. And if you were to buy a stock Supra and do all those same parts to it, you're gonna be talking about a $65,000 project. And the owner who bought my Supra, he wanted a Supra and wanted to do all those same parts, and we kind of split the difference. You know, he saved about $5,000 by buying a car that was done, and I got the money out of it. So with this car, my car, R35, full bolt-ons, flex fuel, makes around 700 horsepower. This car has around $17,000 worth of parts on it. That's not including any labor for installation if you have a shop do everything. If you have a shop do everything, maybe $22,000 to get your GTR looking like this, performing like this, and all of that. And if I parted this car out, sold it stock, it's worth around $82,000, and I'll show you some listings in just a second. But if I did part this out, put it out for stock, get 82 grand for it, the parts that I can sell, my wheels, the intake, the exhaust, the intercooler, the tuner, things like that, I would get around $7,000, $8,000 for them. So no matter what, I'm gonna get $90,000 for this car. So for the buyer of it, if they're gonna buy an R35 and they plan to do full bolt-ons, if you buy a stock one that's identical to this car, you're already spending over 80 grand, and you're gonna be over $100,000 for this exact setup. So that's my reasoning. You know, that's what worked on the Supra, and it makes a lot of sense for the people who are going to modify their car. Now, when we look at some listings, I found a few pretty good competitors. I looked at 2014s and 2015s, mainly because mechanically they're the same. 2013 is a different car than this. 14, they updated the transmission and suspension quite a bit. But I found a nice 2015 for $87,500. It does have some mods on it, and it's a black edition, so it's a newer car than mine with about 8,000 more miles. I don't know the Carfax on that car, so I'm not sure if there's anything on it, but pretty good competitor. There's also a 2015 black edition with 42,000 miles, so 7,000 less than mine, a year newer, nicer trim level. However, it does have damage on the Carfax for $90,000. There's a 2014 Premium with the normal interior. It's a 3-owner car, stock, $83,000 with about the exact same mileage. So that's a pretty good competitor to my car if it were stock. Also a 2014 Premium with the premium interior package for $85,000 with 4 owners, as well as a damage report on the Carfax with about the exact same mileage. Then there's also a nice blue one. It's a year newer, 4 owners, has really good servicing. However, it has a normal interior and it had a few repairs on its Carfax of a few things getting replaced for $83,000. So my car, a 14 with 49,000 premium interior, stock, I think 82 is a pretty good number for a stock car. And then $7,000 basically for all the extra mods that are gonna cost at least $20,000 to do on the aftermarket if you bought it that way. I think that's a pretty fair evaluation of the pricing on the car, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And when I worked at the dealership, that's kind of how I would have valued a car like this, given I worked at a dealership that we sold modified cars, we sold cool cars, stuff like that. But that's my pricing on it. I am a little flexible. Like if you don't like my bronze Boston wheels, you know, we can negotiate. I have all the stock parts for this car, so we can easily put a few things back to stock, you know, play with the money, make it work. So that's kind of my valuation and pricing. Again, I'm the second owner on this car. The first owner drove it 24,000 miles. I've driven it 25,000 miles, no accidents, paid off title, clean, clear, everything. Everything kind of goes into my favor with this car. With the history, it has perfect maintenance history, all documented even on the Carfax. So it's kind of a perfect spec, you know, not to toot my own horn or anything, but, you know, 2-owner GTR, that's, you know, an 8-9-year-old car at this point, where both owners drove it the exact same amount and had a regular servicing the whole time. That's pretty good, working in my favor, and again, with the cool interior package as well. So with all that out of the way, what are the car goals? So with the GTR, I'm not necessarily trying to actually replace it pound for pound. To me, this car can do it all. It's practical, it's reliable, it's insanely fast, and it's an awesome experience. So of those 4 points, the experience is what I'm going to replace. The next car after the GTR is going to be an experience car. Now, if we look at the other 2 cars in the garage, my wife's Audi S3 is, you know, the daily, the kind of normal car in the fleet. That's going to be getting replaced with an Audi RS3 later in the year. That is going to replace this as far as the power and the speed. Those RS3s make stupid power, and with that car, I'm going to do the kind of same thing I've done to this. Full bolt-ons, flex fuel, tune it up, and that's going to be my fast car. That will be at least 500 something horsepower. It's got a much quicker transmission, a lighter weight, and more refinements. So that's going to be the practical car and the fast car. The Nissan Z, which should be here right around the corner, that's going to be my Nissan sports car. That's going to be a lot of content around that, of course, modifying it. It'll be a manual transmission. So that'll be my raw mechanical twin turbo Nissan, which obviously twin turbo raw mechanical Nissan. So with that said, the experience is what I'm after. If you watched my 5-year update owning the GTR, I talk a lot more about certain aspects. But the car replacing the GTR is gonna be by far the Lamborghini Gallardo, a 2nd generation car, 2009 or newer. That's been my dream car since I was 10 years old. That's the car I have been working towards since I was just a little kid. I got a model car of one when I was 10 years old for Christmas, and that day I told myself I'd buy one. So my goal is to find one of them. It'll be an E-Gear car because manuals are way too expensive. I like the E-Gear. I like how it's old school. I like the single clutch. I really like the experience that car offers, and it's that bucket list car. Now, when the time comes where I kind of get sick of that car because it is significantly older as far as technology, it's way slower than pretty much any other car I've owned, so it's not exactly a fast car or a modern car or a tech-savvy car. The Porsche 911 GT3, a 991, I think will replace the Gallardo because they're about the same price. It'll be an easy in and out, It's a modern car, it's practical, it drives like a supercar, it handles insane, and it's an awesome experience. So basically, I'm gonna get to 3 cars, and the GTR, each car that replaces, the next and the next, is all about the experience. And the Gallardo is an awesome experience. After that, GT3, awesome experience. I'll already have the fast car, which is my wife's car. Her car is gonna be faster than my cars. And then I'll have the fun mechanical tuner car, the Z. And the Z, when the Nismo Z comes out, I'm gonna be getting one of them. So that's kind of the plan with that car. So those are kind of my thoughts with selling the GTR. The listing is live down below. Feel free to check it out. That's my price valuation. I think it's a pretty fair pricing if you look at stock ones versus modified. And for those of you who actually are going to modify your GTR and may not want to drop 20 grand in mods and take all the time and effort to do it, a pretty good way to go for sure. It's been a great car. I've never had an issue. It's been bulletproof, reliable, and honestly, I can't say it enough. It's been the best purchase I've ever made. And I've had so many amazing experiences and so many amazing memories. I really hope the next owner appreciates the car and just loves it as much as I do. However, as life goes on, you have other goals, other dreams, and selling this car makes the next ones possible. I'm super excited for the next one. Of course, getting into a Lamborghini. I mean, I've been dreaming of that since I was a kid. In fact, my first model car when I was 3 years old for my grandma was a Lamborghini Diablo. So I just have always wanted a Lamborghini. And the Lambo becomes a reality when I sell this car. And with that said, if I end up getting bored with the Lambo, not loving the Porsche, guess what? I'll get another GTR. Hopefully an R36 actually comes out, a new car that isn't the exact same car 16 years later. Hopefully they actually make a new GTR one day. That would be pretty cool to get. But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Yeah, we are coming down to the end with this amazing car. If you did enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. Even if you didn't enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content. See you all in the next video.